Hello friends and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to The Sims 4, and welcome back to a room build. Technically a 2-room build, but when it goes up on the gallery it'll go up as one. I'll just remove a wall by the door. Because they're kind of sister rooms, they kind of go together, but I did want them to be separate for gameplay reasons. Because we built an office, a very strong, independent, very feminine office. It's really pretty, lots of warmth while still maintaining a little bit of sterility so that, it's we get business done in here. And behind the bookshelf, there is more of a cozy, get ready, hang out, think your thoughts kind of room. I kind of was going on the idea of a very old school boudoir, which that idea has gotten to be very, in modern parlance, to mean a little bit more risque, a little bit more personal, very intimate. But my understanding is the original sort of idea of a woman's boudoir is that it was just a private space for her to exist, usually attached to her more professional or public-facing spaces. It was a cozy dressing room, but also just a place to hang and be and read and enjoy. And so we kind of played with both of those ideas, where coming off her big fancy independent CEO fancy office here, there is a quiet space where she can fix her makeup, change if she needs to. There's, a TV and comfies in there. And this was really heavily inspired by the pack that came out actually a little bit ago now. I've been very behind in just getting to play and enjoy with some of the new kits and things. I can't remember the exact name of this kit. It's the Bella Goth inspired kit, and that's how it's lived in my head. And unfortunately, I can't remember the name of the creator. I will try to remember to put it on screen. If not, I will put it in the description. Very talented creator, because look at these gorgeous bookshelves and the bookshelf door. So in case it was not clear here, you see how the middle bookshelf is recessed just a little bit and it has junk on it pre-done? That is because it is not a bookshelf. It is a bookshelf door. It is a 3D bookshelf door. We've had a teeny weeny little bookshelf door that was made to look like it was recessed into the wall for a while, and it's a nice door, but the problem is it's impossible to hide because it doesn't match anything. So if you want it to look like part of a bookcase, you have to put 3 or 4 of those bookcase doors down. None of them work, and they all just look kind of fake. So it's been really hard to use that bookshelf door. But this bookshelf door works so well, and I've been wanting to do a build with it for a while, and I really wanted to do, I was saying, a ladies dressing space, a really strong feminine space with that kit. I just hadn't really figured out how it was gonna go, and then I kind of stumbled on the idea of what if there's an office, a really serious faced office, very feminine but very serious faced, which I think we get. It takes us a minute here. We're starting to work on that now, but behind it is a cozier, warmer space that still has the same I'm in charge vibes, but is chiller for them to come chill out. That was the idea, and I really like how this turned out. Gonna address the elephant in the room. If I sound really out of it in this video, for you this won't be coming out for a little while, because I try to record about a week ahead. But for me, I literally just got off the most hellacious week at work. I literally was not signed out. I signed in Monday morning and didn't sign out until this Monday morning, a week later. So I'm feeling, first of all, very behind, because I had no Sims time this week. I literally have been at work. The longest I slept was 2 hours. And very rarely was any of that in a row. But I really wanted to record. I got off work and I was the first thing I want to do is work on YouTube stuff, work on Sim stuff. I'm rapidly crashing out. I'm rapidly getting wore out, and I need to probably go to bed. But I wanted to just address that if I sound a little bit lower energy, or perhaps I'm not making as much sense as usual, which I never make sense, so I'm not sure why I'm worried about that. Just as a heads up, I'm all good. I'm gonna go to bed right after this. Gonna go take me a nice long nap. But see, here we've got the fancy, and I did go, so that is a life or death door, and it does have skulls on it, and I know what you're thinking. You're man, that's kind of weird, but it's very ornate, it's very pretty, it's very bright, it's white and pretty. It doesn't scream very super gothic, but because of this pack being inspired by Bella Goth, I was it makes sense. To me, Bella Goth does not necessarily need to be in black. There needs to be punches of red, and I didn't do a lot of punches of red in this particular build because I wasn't building for Bella Goth. But to me, Bella Goth very much encapsulates that I can be my own style, but still have be very feminine, very strong but very feminine. So I was for me it was the whites and the creams, the sort of very delicate touches, but if you look, they're like a little bit gothic, that kind of thing. I liked the way that whole vibe went. And I liked that the door mimicked the swooshies on the upper shelves of the bookshelves, right? The little like archy thing. Swooshies is a fine word for that, but I think the technical term is arches. The arch on the door mimics the arch on the bookshelves. And if she's like a high-powered CEO or something like that who owns this office, I kind of like the idea of a big kind of like intimidating door. Like, nothing about this office screams intimidating, but everything about this office screams intimidating, if that makes sense, right? Like, you walk in and you're like, it's warm, it's comfortable, it could be an inviting place, but it is not your place. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm not describing myself incredibly well here, but that was kind of the idea. This sort of like get business done area. There's a couple plants in here. I do end up putting curtains up to kind of soften it a little bit. There's some pretty art on the walls, but very like stately art, very like with import, and I do put a table over here just because I kind of wanted something to fill the space a little bit. I didn't want it to feel cavernous. That was not the goal. It was supposed to be like, you could also maybe even argue, I was trying to think of like who would own this office, and I would keep saying like CEO, businesswoman. You could also even state something like this is a head of state's office, or perhaps a royal who actually rules in our country, that kind of thing. There's a lot of Sims that could share, like, have this office. I just liked the idea of whatever they do, they get stuff done in here, right? Like, that's why they have all the books, that's why they have the desk. It's faced out so that they can, have an audience should they need it with whoever. There's some chairs there, but not terribly comfortable chairs because we don't want people to stay too long. We have things to do. And I liked that the desk we picked, which is a Loafer desk, which is not as easy to say as you would think, has little drawers on it. So it's realistic to believe that she has like little pens and things in those drawers, that it is an actual work desk, but she keeps it very tidy because obviously we need to keep things very tidy. And then I do put some little tchotchkes on the shelves just to give it a little bit of personality, because if someone is working in here all of the time, regardless of how like serious faced they want to be, you still have like your little tchotchkes and things. And I put some different things up on the wall, various different frames, trying to keep it a little bit lower key, but I didn't mind if things got a little bit fancier just because she's probably done things in her life. I can't remember if I keep this rug. I loved this rug, and I loved what it did to the space, but I couldn't decide if it was a little too patterned or not, and I can't remember what I decided. I think I end up sticking with it and just owning the pattern. Or maybe I go with this one and change the colors. I honestly can't remember what I do here. But I do believe it is a patterned rug. Oh, maybe I do stick with this one. I just wanted like a warm rug to kind of like, again, keep the vibes in the right place. It's serious faced, but it's not supposed to be like overtly intimidating. It's supposed to look just, you know what the vibe is supposed to be? So incredibly put together that on itself is intimidating. The person who hangs out here, not intimidating. Like, serious, classy, put together, owns the room, not intimidating. But the space she keeps, the air she keeps, the company she keeps is so impeccably put together that she's intimidating on her own. Yeah? Does that make sense? I think that's the vibe. But I do put a couple cute things in here. I imagine some things from her travels, maybe some books she likes, perhaps she's an editor, keeps some different things in here. I use those little pots. I think a couple of them are from book 2, or maybe both of them. I don't remember which ones are from book 2. So much. It's so funny that the Star Wars pack actually comes up in my builds more than I should admit to. I have never actually played the Star Wars pack either, because it was gifted to me. It was gifted to me with a couple other packs, and the other packs got played through, and the Star Wars one never did. I really should do like a little playthrough of just the pack. I'm sure it would take me like 2 hours. I don't think it's a very long playthrough. Let me know if you want to see that. If not, I'll just probably do it on my own at some point. I've been thinking about trying to do a little bit more gameplay stuff, because I love the the events, and we have one coming up. In fact, potentially by the time this video goes out, we might already be doing event stuff, which is going to be wild because it is such a busy time of year, but we'll get it done. But I love the event stuff, and so I've been thinking like maybe it would be cool to do a little bit more gameplay stuff. I don't really know if I have the creative like abilities to put on like a let's play, but I was thinking maybe it'd be fun to do like the little what are they called on the front screen? The little my brain, I've drawn a blank. Oh no, the little like, I'm gonna use the word circumstances, that's not right. The little like challenges on the front page, the little words like rotating little like different scenarios to play. I've completely drawn a blank on the word there, but that's okay. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. And then now we're moved back into like the quiet space. And there were some non-negotiables to me. I wanted to use the vanity. I wanted to use the like, it's a, what's the fancy word? It's like a lounger, but like chaise? A chaise. Is that the right word? I feel like I've made that up. I wanted to have a chaise, and I thought it would be really cool to actually have a TV back here. Like that you could watch the news on, that you could just decompress on, etc. So this layout takes a minute to come together because I wanted the chaise to be in the middle of the room. I wanted it to be decadent, but then I also wanted it aimed at a TV, which made it a little hard. So it took a minute. Yeah, and then I actually picked up like the correct chaise. Is that the right word? I keep using it. I feel like I can see it in my head. I should Google it, but I'm simply not going to. We're just going to have to learn these things together. The lounger. And then I really like kind of cluttered up, it comes in a minute, the vanity, because I didn't want someone to like put cups and stuff on it. But I did, and I also wanted it to look like this was her like put together, like where she gets put together. So it could look a little bit messier. There's going to be like magazines on the counter. There's going to be a little bit of laundry behind the divider that we ultimately put up so that they have a place to change. I didn't put a dresser in here or anything like that. This is obviously just one room in what would be a very large mansion. And changing in here wouldn't be happening all of the time. It would be a, if you needed to change in between, like meetings or something. And it might even be that if this was like in a castle or something, perhaps there would be another door in here that would lead to a bedroom and a closet and a bathroom and like out to another area of the house where you could get food and stuff as needed. This room is just like a little bit more of a cozy prep in between meetings and like chill out at the end of the day and hide out and get your stuff done by yourself kind of deal. So no dresser was the point I was making. And like not a lot of, your sim couldn't like full-time live here, if that makes sense. But they could like change in the mirror a little bit. I think you can change in the mirror still. I was playing Sims 2, I think it was the other day. Is it Sims 2 you can change in the mirror? Honestly, I can't remember now. But your sim can change in the mirror, I believe. Or at the very least, it's a fun little set detail. And then there's a place to hang out. That cat picture is actually a TV. So your sim can get their fun up in between meetings. Or, if you wanted to, you could even play video games in between your meetings. If your sim is into that. Maybe your sim is a big video game mogul. Or just like that's their idea of good fun. That would be really good. I really liked the idea of it being more playful back here too. I used a lot more like greens and playful tones. I let colors be a little bit different back and forth. I let things be a little bit messier back here. Still, again, elegant because that's who the sim is, right? The sim just naturally exudes that, especially if we're going with like the head of state perhaps, or some sort of foreign dignitary kind of thing, royalty. If we're going like with that storyline, they've been raised their whole life, right, to carry themselves in that way. But I still wanted it to be a little bit more playful. So things are askew, like have been moved a little bit. There's maybe some stuff on the floor, a little bit of clutter here and there. I did put a tea set in so your sim could chill a little bit if they needed to. Catch up. And then I got to use that rug. I did size it down. It's so pretty, but it's such a nice green. Sometimes it's super fun to sort by color. Even if you don't necessarily intend to stick with a color theme, or perhaps like you're not sure you want to use that color. Sometimes it's still nice to sort by the color or colors because it just gets you swatches that you're not used to seeing. I'm really bad about sticking with like the same swatches and getting kind of like swatch blindness and like honestly item blindness to a point. And sometimes I'll go through and I'll sort something by green and I'm like, I really don't care if this rug is green. But just seeing what green options are out there or seeing what swatches are hidden that I've forgotten about are really, really helpful, especially in the art category. There's been several art pieces where I've gone, I did not know that existed. Or I knew it existed and then didn't know it existed again, like forgot was the word I was looking for. I will remind you, I'm very tired. Which, honestly, I don't know what my excuse is the other 364 days of the year. But today we can use the I'm very tired excuse. And I did put some more plants and stuff back here. There are plants in the front. There are plants back here. But the plants really made sense with the green back here. And if you're a big fancy, CEO, head of state, whatever, you probably have someone watering your plants, so it's not that big a deal. You can have as many plants as you want. I cluttered the snot out of this vanity. I thought it was so cute because, like, if you're in meetings all day, you're gonna have to fix up your face. You don't have to wear makeup to be, like, a fancy foreign dignitary or anything like that. Like, that is certainly not required. However, I thought it was kind of a fun story to tell that they put on their face and, like, enjoy freshening up in between meetings and stuff. I personally don't wear a lot of makeup. I would love to, but when I take off my glasses, I can't see nonsense. So a lot of makeup is just, like, just obnoxious enough that I'm like, you know, maybe I'm good. Maybe I don't want to look like a clown. Still with the stately wallpaper and the fancy floors. I do want to address something before I forget. I'll probably state it again at the end, but it just occurred to me when I forget. I pulled a goof, and I did not realize until I was doing some of the social media stuff for this build. All of the screenshots have the grid on, and I'm really annoyed at myself for doing that. But I don't, unfortunately, have time at this moment to fix it, which is obnoxious. So we have to live with the grid on, which is not ideal. Just know it's really pretty without the grid on. Just imagine it's so much prettier. The floors are really nice without the grid on. Here we're just doing the final touches on the desk. I was trying to be really careful because I didn't want it to look cluttered, but I did want it to be an actual usable office, so it needed a computer. I thought about putting a tablet in. I honestly can't remember if I put a tablet in or not. I think I decided against it. Maybe I put it in. No, I think I put the tablet over here. Maybe I don't put the tablet in. I honestly cannot remember. Your guess is as good as mine. But I knew it needed a laptop because what is the point of building a dedicated office if you don't have some way to use the computer? Sims need computers so badly in this game. Everything is tied around computers. That is the one thing about, like, an off-the-grid challenge or something. It gets really hard to not use computer. You have to go into town and stuff. So much is done on that computer. You can do some things on your phone, but not all things. Here are the screenshots. Like I said, unfortunately the grid is on, which is just so upsetting. And the lighting was being a little bit weird. It does get better on a lot reload. So keep that in mind. But I'm really, really excited about this room setup, this, like, actual set of sister rooms here. I really, really like how it turned out. So you'll have to let me know what you think. But I think I'm going to go ahead and call it here. I hope you're having a good day and feeling loved. And if you're not feeling loved, please know that I love you. I'm glad you exist. I'm glad you're here hanging out. You make the world a better place just by being you. And I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, love you. Bye. Mwah.